Alright, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you tonight with a special fight preview. So we're going to UFC Fight Night, Santos versus Teixeira. We're going to the Strawweight division. Claudia Gadelha coming in at 18-4, taking on Xiaonan coming in at 12-1. Gadelha is currently ranked 4th in the Strawweight division. Jan is currently ranked number 8. So, this should be a darn good fight. Very much have been looking forward to this for a while. Finally doing the preview on it because the fight's actually going to happen. This fight was supposed to happen like 2 months ago or so, and then it got pushed back. So let's take a look at the stats here. Gadelha coming in at 18-4. Jan coming in at 12-1. Gadelha coming in off of 2 straight wins. First over Randa Marco speed decision about 1.25 years ago, and then defeated Angela Hill via split decision 5 months ago. Jan coming in undefeated in the UFC, 5 straight fights won in the UFC. Most recently over Angela Hill 1 year and 4 months ago, and then most recently over Karolina Kowalkiewicz 8 months ago, where she battered Kowalkiewicz for 3 straight rounds. Both fighters are the same age, 31 years old. Jan is slightly taller, 5 feet 5 inches, 166 centimeters tall, to Gadelha's 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters tall. Gadelha, however, has a extremely slight, almost negligible reach advantage. 63.5 inches, 161 centimeters, to Jan's 63 inches, 160 centimeters. So let's talk about Claudia Gadelha. You know, for a long while, she was the de facto number 2 fighter in that division. I mean, she had beaten everybody except for Xiaonan and Jacek. And it was hard to get past her. Like, fighters had to skip over her in order to get a title shot because pretty much no one was able to beat her. And then she took a beating at the hands of Jessica Andrade, and she has been really been on a downslope ever since then. Now she's still winning the majority of her fights, although I will say that I thought she had lost the fight to Esparza. You know, her grappling, her takedowns, her top control, for a long time was at the top of the division. I mean, nobody could stop her takedowns. Joanna couldn't actually stop her takedowns. Joanna had to rely on her ability to get back up very good and then fight her off of there from the clinch. I mean, nobody could stop her takedowns for a long time. And then her top control was very good as well. Only Joanna was able to really fight to get back to her feet against Gadelha. Her takedowns, her wrestling, her top control was just that good, and her striking was excuse me, her striking was more than good enough to survive at the top of a very deep division filled with strikers. Unfortunately, she's not the same fighter that she used to be. She used to be able to go 2.5, 3 rounds without gassing out. Now, if she gets past the first round without exhausting herself, it's a miracle. Her takedowns aren't as great. She doesn't really she prefers to strike anymore compared to using her biggest strength. And I think that's in an attempt to not only work on her striking, but also to, you know, try to extend her cardio and her gas tank. And honestly, it hasn't helped that much. I mean, when you start getting off struck by Carla Esparza, you've got some work to do. Now, you look at her losses, Jessica Andrade and Nina Ansaroff, neither of those are anything to, you know, be ashamed of. Although she was really Ansaroff's first big win. But the Andrade win, that was no shame at all. And that was a while ago. That's 3 years ago now. Then you look at Yan Xiaonan. Now, Yan, she hasn't lost. She only has 1 loss, and that was to Karina Hallinan at Martial Combat in September of 2010. So she's gone 10 years without a loss, and 10 years and 10 wins without a loss. So that's a long time to go without losing. Now, what I like about Yan Xiaonan is not just that she's a striker, because I like ground fighters too, but I like her style of striking. She is very much a Sanda style fighter from China. She throws a lot of side kicks, often leads with the side kick, uses it very well, will use it to set up distance or her range. She'll use it to hurt her opponents. Just uses that side kick extremely well. Also, what I like about Yan is that she throws just about every punch with bad intentions. And she has the cardio to do that across, every round. I mean, she's gone to decision, and she never tires out. And, she's one of those fighters, she makes noises when she punches, but she's not an ish, or a ha fighter. No. When Yan throws a punch, it's like sounds like an angry dude throwing punches. So, I mean, yeah, she's a noisy fighter, but it's different. It's not like, Katlyn Chukagian or Holly Holm just making noise to make noise. No, she is throwing that noise, making that noise to put that much extra emphasis on her strikes. Now, one thing that worries me about Yan Xiaonan, her ground game has not been tested in years. In fact, I think the last time she got taken down that I can remember is that loss to Karina Hallinan, and she got submitted. Nobody in the UFC that I can remember has taken her down. Carlin didn't. Viviana Pereira didn't. Shiri Kondo didn't. Wasn't able to. Angela Hill didn't try. And Karolina Kowalkiewicz, yeah, she wasn't about to try to take anyone down. So her ground game has not been tested anywhere near to the level that she is now at in the UFC. And that's worrying against someone like Gadelha, who, while she is a faded version of herself, still it can be dangerous to a striker if her takedown defense and her ability to get back up to her feet is not up to snuff. That is a big worrying thing for Yan Xiaonan. Now, as far as this fight goes, if I were Claudia Gadelha, I would be that first fighter to test Yan's ground game. I think Claudia should go out there looking to take Yan down, test her ground game, and try to, extort any ground weakness that Yan has. Yan is going to be the superior striker. Now, Claudia's striking is not bad, but it's not as good as Yan's. She's not as fast as Yan Xiaonan. She doesn't throw with as much force as Yan Xiaonan. She doesn't have the variety of strikes that Yan Xiaonan has. So if I were Claudia, I would try to waste very little striking against her. I would mostly just use the strikes to set up the takedowns and then try to exploit any apparent weakness on the ground that Yan has. Now, if I were Yan Xiaonan, I would try to be the aggressor. I would go out looking to be the aggressor, which she usually is anyway. But I would try to keep Claudia Gadelha at the end of her strikes, at the end of her range at all time. Don't let Gadelha get in close. Try to stay away from the fence. Try to stay off of the cage to prevent Gadelha from using the cage to assist in takedowns. And just strike away, keep her at the edge of her range, and just pick her apart. Might not be able to get a finish, but now she said she's going to try to go for a second round finish. But if it presents itself, go for it. But don't headhunt. Don't go hunting for that finish. Yan needs to be very careful against a skilled ground technician like Gadelha. Now, as far as picking a winner, I am going to go with Yan Xiaonan, but I am very nervous about this pick because of that We just don't know how good her ground game is yet. Now, if she can start stuffing takedowns as soon as Gadelha starts throwing them, if she can shuck off the takedowns or get right back up as soon as she gets taken down, then I will feel a lot more confident as the fight wears on. Gadelha, I don't trust her cardio. I don't trust where she is at mentally. Now, she is training with a very good camp. She's training with, what's his name? Mark Henry out there in New Jersey. And he has been helping her improve her striking a lot. And I know he's going to come up with a good game plan. But it's a matter of can Gadelha implement it or not. And I just don't trust Gadelha as far as where she's at mentally and physically anymore. I mean, she's still in like good shape, looks-wise and everything, but her cardio is just off the wall terrible anymore. Just does not have it. Now, she did look a little bit better against Angela Hill. Like, I think her cardio lasted to like halfway through the fight, which was a marked improvement over her previous fights. But I just don't trust it anymore. So I think Yan Xiaonan definitely has the striking to keep Gadelha off of her. And we'll go with Yan Xiaonan by decision. Okay, so those are my thoughts on the fight. I'm picking Yan Xiaonan to win, most likely by decision. Now, Yan has said in an interview that if she wins, she is going to call out Zhang Weili for a title fight. And I'll tell you what, if she wins, makes that call out, I can definitely see the UFC booking that fight next. I mean, Chinese standout Zhang Weili versus Chinese standout Yan Xiaonan. China versus China championship fight, the first ever in the UFC. First Chinese champion taking on only the second ever title challenger. The UFC would be stupid to deny this fight. Now, a lot of people are thinking that Rose Namajunas is next. But guess what? The UFC has not announced that fight yet. It has been talked about since Rose beat Andrade back. When did that fight happen? Let's see. When did that fight happen? That fight happened back in July. What are they waiting on to book that fight? Is it Zahn? Is it Rose? I think they've been waiting to see the result of this fight because, listen, if Yan Xiaonan wins, she can take Claudia's spot at number 4. No, the champ versus number 4 is a very easy fight to, make. It's very easy to use that excuse, especially if it's going to be Chinese fighter versus Chinese fighter. Boom. That check is practically writing itself. UFC would be stupid to not make that fight. No disrespect to Rose, but yeah, China versus China, that's going to be the fight to make. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this upcoming fight. It happens this Saturday in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to WMMA Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.